And we're live. Welcome to Daily Confidence for Entrepreneurs. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, and I'm your host for the show. At Daily Confidence, we share strategies and actionable advice that you could use while running your business to boost your confidence on a daily basis. Today, I have an amazing guest. My guest is Christine Schlonski. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you, Mustafa.
Great to have you with us. So I'm going to do the intro, and I'm going to properly introduce Christine, and then we're going to dive into a very interesting topic, which is how to sell with ease, grace, and confidence while being authentic. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners have an issue with selling. They don't like to sell. They don't like to be seen as salesy, or they don't like to be perceived as salesy. So we're going to talk about how to sell through her program. And what she does is it's called Heart Sells, correct, Christine?
Yeah, Heart Sells.
Okay.
Magic. Yes.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive more into that. So proper introduction. Let me pull up my introduction. Christine Schlonski is a multi-talented leader in the field of sales, mindset, motivation, and strategies. She is the founder of Heart Sells Academy, creator of Heart Sells Members Community, and host of the Heart Sells podcast. She works with heart-centered, ambitious entrepreneurs who love what they do, but do not feel comfortable selling their services and podcasts. She shows them how to sell with ease, grace, and confidence while being authentic and feeling great while doing it. Welcome, Christine.
Well, thank you so much.
And so you are in Europe, correct?
Yes, in Germany.
Oh, nice. What time is it over there right now?
It's 10:30.
All right.
PM.
Almost bedtime.
Almost bedtime, yeah.
All right. So, Christine, without further ado, what is your story?
Well, it's probably a story that many people share, maybe especially women. Like, be a good girl, go to school, get good grades, and then you can study something, and then you can get a good job, and then at a later point, you can start to enjoy life. And I followed that path, and I found out that it was not that fulfilling. So I was looking for different ways to change that. And one was like I really wanted to move to Berlin. And the way I did it was I applied in companies that I thought I'm going to be happy working at. And some didn't have a job offer. And then one day somebody called me back and said, well, I have an offer for you, but it's in sales. And I was like, no way. I would never, ever sell something to someone. I had like all the fears that I now help people to overcome. And the person was a really good salesperson, and it was the number one company that I wanted to work in. So I said yes, and I learned how to sell. And when I later combined it with coaching, I could really understand the human side and the sales side. And by putting that together, by connecting your head with your heart, basically Heart Sells was born without me knowing that it was already born. But it really helped with my sales numbers. And yeah, basically had a very successful career in corporate, selling millions for the company, becoming the sales director myself at a later point in the company. And then I was looking for freedom, or for more freedom and choice. And the only path that I saw was becoming an entrepreneur. And yeah, so I left my 6-figure job and decided to be my own boss. And today I help coaches, healers, creatives, consultants, experts, authors to really start loving sales. Do it authentically without the slime and sleaze, and really have a good time having fun conversations instead of sales conversations, and convert happy customers.
I like the fact that you said loving sales, because a lot of people hate to sell. So we'll get to that. So what was it for you? What was the process like for you when you went from fear to liking and eventually loving what you do?
Yeah, it was a very interesting process. So the fear I basically overcame because my desire to move to Berlin, to work there was so big that I thought, well, I'm just gonna do what they tell me. And if they say that's gonna work out, then I want to believe this. And it did work out. But the better I became, like the more often I took the phone and I cold called someone, the easier it became, but it was never to the point where I felt really, really confident and really, really amazing. It was only when I started to um, look for more fulfillment and I became a coach where I was able to combine the human or more human side to the hard selling and to really be more natural in the conversations. And then it became easier because I found out that at the other end of that phone line, there was a human. So I could just be me. Either they liked me or they didn't. But I had so much better conversations.
Hmm. Why do you think people hate to sell?
I think there is like this idea implemented in us that you have to be manipulative, that you have to be pushy, that you have to tell people where to sign up, right? And there are all these movies that help with the idea that selling is not a great thing to do at the end of the day. Like if you look at Wolf of Wall Street or Boiler Room or Glengarry Glen Ross, like those typical sales movies, when heart-centered people who want to do something good, when they watch that stuff, they feel
Like,
awful.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, totally. And then we have all made a bad experience in our life at some point. We have been sold to and it didn't feel good. Maybe we regretted that we bought something. Maybe we wanted to get our money back and it didn't work. And depending on how important that decision was, what kind of impact that made, we could have been in a situation that was really, really uncomfortable or even threatening.
Very interesting. Can I share my 2 cents on that?
Yes, please.
I think people hate to sell because we're all salespeople. We're not selling for dollars, but we're all in the business of persuasion and convincing each other to do things, whether we're convincing to someone to go on a date or to marry or to, tag along and go do something fun together. I think that's part of why people hate to sell, because they're all salespeople. And here's my philosophy on that. The people that hate sales the most are the biggest salespeople. Okay, I
Yeah.
not necessarily for exchanging dollars and cents, but they're the biggest persuaders and they want everything their way. That's probably why they hate either selling or they hate being sold to. That's
Yeah.
what I understand from psychology.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so interesting. As soon as we take the dollar amount away, people have lesser of a challenge.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put a price tag on it, then it becomes weird somehow. Like the energy changes.
So absolutely, the energy is like, well, let's do an exchange for money, and they're like, whoa, 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 that's below me, or that's above me, or I don't like to do that, which is interesting. Let me ask you a fundamental question. What is sales and why do we need it?
Well, I believe that sales is love. And I believe that every person has a very special gift. They if they are an entrepreneur, they want to bring something into the world. Or if they are an employee, they have hopefully a job they enjoy, where they want to have a meaning and where they want to have some kind of impact in the world. So, the fun thing is you talked about dating and marriage, and that's a sale too, basically. But the only thing you can divide that grows is love. The more we can share our gifts with the world and with other people, because they will buy from us, the more
Mm-hmm.
we can make and the more love we will share. So at the end of the day, when we look at sales is basically love. And I think everybody can learn how to sell while feeling amazing doing so and being authentic.
Absolutely. I love that. Love that. Now, what am I trying to ask here? What is the relationship between sales and business? Another fundamental
Oh,
question. I think here's why I ask that question. Um, a lot of people that want to start a business don't think about the sales aspect. What is your definition or the relationship between sales and business?
well, business is sales. So if you don't sell, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. It's pretty simple. Like sales is the lifeblood of a business. Sales is your backbone of the business. Sales is a vehicle where you have impact. Because we also know that if we give all our things away for free, people will not value it. So if I would, just say I would do a workshop for free, well, people probably would show up because they're curious, but they would probably not implement in a way as they would when they paid to enter that space. So sales is everything. If you know how to sell, you will be always in a good position, because if something goes wrong, people always need good salespeople. If you're a good salesperson, you probably have ideas that how you can implement for yourself and be your own boss. So sales is the most important skill to master. Everything else comes after.
Absolutely. I think some people start a business and after a while they realize they need to sell. They're like, "Uh-oh,
Yes.
I don't like to do that." And that's part of why a lot of businesses fail, because the business owner and entrepreneurs don't like to sell or don't know how to sell, or they're not good salespeople.
Yeah.
And then they don't make it, I guess.
Well, no, they don't, unfortunately. And that's so sad. Like when you think about it, like the excitement you start your own entrepreneurial journey with, the idea you have, the gift you want to give, the freedom you want to gain, the possibilities you want to have for your family, for yourself, for your clients. Yeah, it goes all into probably frustration and anger and sadness because you did not master that skill. And I actually have seen that over and over again, and my clients do suffer from it. And they are one step further, they recognize they can't sell or they don't like to sell, and they understand they need to change this. But it's so, so important. And it's so sad to see people, going back to a job they hate, wasting their precious lifetime.
Absolutely. What are some of the myths around sales? What are some thoughts or ideas people have around sales that are actually not true?
Well, most people think that selling is kind of something bad, something you have to do to a person. Like if you can't be pushy, or if you cannot, execute on techniques to make a sale, then you're not selling. And I don't believe it's true. Like I realized the more I became me in the process, the more authentic I was, the more I enjoyed the process, the better I became, the more money I made. And that led to having choice, having freedom at the end of the day. So I think it's a myth to see sales as something unethical. I think if you have a gift and if you want to be an entrepreneur or small business owner, coach, whatever, you just put your thing in there, you have the obligation to learn how to sell, because that's the way how you will serve at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I think it becomes unethical if you start practicing unethical behavior and unethical ways to sell. But if you're selling something good, if you are selling something that people actually need, there is nothing wrong with that. I mean, somebody has a need for what I offer, they're willing to pay for it, and we have an exchange for the services that I offer for money or for however else we do it. And what's wrong with that? It's just an exchange there, right?
Yeah. But often people forget that, because that the emotion of not feeling good when selling is pretty big. So they don't even go there. And I see a lot of people that totally undercharge and over deliver, which is not healthy either. because at the end of the day, they end up frustrated because the client will take, right? The client paid, it's an energy exchange. So they will ask to get their promised thing delivered. And then you give and give and give, and you feel like I'm not well compensated. They just take and take and take. And you start getting frustrated with your client who just took you up on the offer. So if you do an offer in a way that's aligned, that you really want to make, and it's at a price point you would love to have, and it obviously shows the value, then you definitely need to raise your prices.
You got it. What is the best way to find my way of selling? So talking about the authentic and authenticity when it comes to sales, like you talked about the moment you became yourself and you started being yourself, it was a lot easier and it worked a lot. What is the best way to approach that and find that?
That's such a great question. I've never been asked that. So I think like really understanding who you are. So I'm going to give you an example. When I started cold calling, I sold a high ticket. And high ticket, I mean, one of the objections was I can get like a really good higher end middle class car or like a lower end high class car for that price, right? So what you offer for a weekend, right? So come to the event, meet all these high level people, and that's what you pay. So my perception was like, whoa, this is so much money. Like for me, it was huge. And not understanding that for the business, they could potentially make hundreds of thousands of euros or even millions if they would take that opportunity. So I thought I had to be a certain way, right? You have to be dressed in a certain way. You have to behave in a certain way. And for the first month in that job, not month with an S, like several months, I would not allow myself to laugh with a client, to have some fun, to have some small talk. I would go right into the pitch. I would do like the business thing. And, there was no fun in the conversation at all because I was so focused on that high money amount that I thought I had to be like super professional, like let alone sharing a private information of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, because I could see successful colleagues, they were having fun on the phone and it was just a different world. And over time, I could slip into that kind of conversation. I put it on my agenda. This week, I want to have at least one laugh with a client on the phone. And it felt not natural at all. But when I understood, like the more I practiced, the more I opened up just how I would talk with a colleague or with a friend, the easier it became, right? Because my perception of how I would have to be asking for that kind of money and who I was just didn't fit, right? I didn't see myself at this high level of success. Like they were CEOs, they were managing directors, they were owners of companies, bigger companies. Who was I? I just started that sales job. So when you allow yourself to not judge and just to be a human being, life is much easier. Right? The rest is just the title. Also, these people, they get up in the morning, right? They might not have the best day. They might have a bad hair day. They might have some worries. Something didn't work out. They're just humans like you and I. So don't get caught up in how you have to be. Just be who you are. And whoever loves it, they will be drawn to you. They can't wait to buy from you because they just love what they experience. While when you try to be someone you are not, there's always this, I don't know, there's this feeling around it, right? People can just sense it. They can smell it, like something is off with that person. And you are doing all the hard work, you put all the effort in to portray something because you think you have to be this person. And then when you let go, like such a weight goes off of your shoulders. So I just want to invite people to be totally themselves and not to fear anything. Like the worst thing is the client says no. So what? Might not have been your soulmate client anyway.
How did you lose your fear of cold calling? I mean, for going from a shy girl, not liking sales, going to, I mean, cold calling is like the highest, most feared action in sales,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know
So,
that, right? So I wouldn't say I was shy. I was pretty confident. I
mhm.
had ideas of what I didn't want. I wasn't as clear as I'm now in my life, that's for sure. But yeah, I think I believed my boss who told me you can learn this. And then I saw other people doing it and being successful. So at the beginning, I just pushed myself. I'm pretty ambitious. If I decide I want to do something, then I want to do something. So I just worked really, really hard, and I learned, I practiced, and then you have good conversations, and all of a sudden you think like, oh, that wasn't too bad. Like if I have another person like this, that could be kind of fun. Or wow, they just spent like 30 minutes with me on the phone, or 45, right? Out of their day as a CEO. So I must have done a pretty good job. Otherwise, they would have hung up after a minute. So you kind of practice. And I always found that if I didn't have a good day, right, because the fear crept back in, or I just, I didn't feel like, oh no, today I don't want to call anybody. Just having a little game, like saying, okay, I'm going to call 10 people no matter what, and then I'm going to get myself a fresh hot coffee. And then maybe the fifth call is an amazing conversation. And from that moment onwards, you keep calling, right? That fear is gone because you just have proof of concept. This could be fun. So
Yeah.
where's the next person that's interested that you can send your offer to? And yeah, that can be as simple as that.
So I guess you go for the no's until you get a yes, and you just build up on that.
Definitely. There is a really, really great book, Go for No, by Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton. It's a small book. Beautiful story. And I actually interviewed her a while ago, and somebody then called me and pitched me to be on my show, said, well, I have a summer of 1,000 no's. So he put the whole month of August, I believe it was, he wanted to collect 1,000 times the word no for his offers.
In 1 month.
I believe it was a month, maybe it was two. It was a rather short period of time, just this summer.
That's a lot of calls.
It's a lot of calls. Well, he calls, and also I think he sent some emails. But it was fascinating because, we had the conversation when he had just started, and then we had the conversation when he had finished his project. And he gained so much more business just by, kind of challenging the fear of getting a no, that, yeah, he had his best business summer ever.
Very nice. Very interesting. I mean, as soon as you get past the no's, and they don't really mean much to you.
Yeah.
A no is a no, and a yes is a yes. It's not like changing our world. It's not changing my lifestyle. Someone said no, okay, they're not interested. I'll keep going until I get a yes, and I find someone that actually is interested in my products. So, for those of you who are watching or listening, my guest is Christine Schlonski, and she's a sales master, and we're talking about how to sell with ease, grace, and confidence while being authentic. Now, Christine, as per the topic of our show, what does it take for a business owner to become confident with sales?
Yeah, such a great question. I think you become confident when you practice, when you put in a lot of effort to really master this game, the art of selling, because you will, on the way of all your no's, you will collect so many positive experiences that you did not expect, that this builds up your confidence, right? I did about, so I was on the job for 12 years, a little bit over 12 years. And I approximately did about over 80,000 cold calls.
Wow.
right? So that's a number, right? Every day you just, I mean, if you break it down, it's like 25 calls a day or something. So it's not that much. Because if you would take the realistic number, it's like, really? So if you practice, if you keep going, if you have a goal, and if you have a purpose, right? If you are a coach and you call someone and you know exactly they need your support, and if they don't need it, they will run in circles, or this thing will happen, and this will influence not just them, but their families, their friends. Like, it's always this ripple effect that if we do not give that special gift we have, like if you, Mustafa, don't support your tribe, like where would they be? Completely
Mhm.
planless, no clarity, stuck. So they need what you have. So if you would not sell, like that would be awful, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
So
Ab-
yeah, really getting confident with every step of the way. And then if you have a day where you feel like you rather sit at home in front of a fireplace with a hot chocolate and don't talk to anyone, well, you have two choices, like take the day off or remember all your amazing clients and how they came to you through your call. And then think again and make a new decision.
Absolutely. I think having that responsibility or holding yourself responsible to serve people
Yeah.
and go out there and go out of your way, despite the toughness and the roughness of this entrepreneurial path, where you will face with a lot of no's, some yeses. If you can make peace with that, you can run a business. Or if you're willing to make peace with that, you can run a business. But if you're not, you're going to have a very hard time running a business. So what would you say for someone that is just getting started? They are they kind of see themselves that they can do it. They don't have enough experience, but they have that fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen if I call this person?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just think about all the amazing ways that you can support that person if it's the right person, right? If hopefully you did some research and you didn't just call or started to call random people. So we get really, really clear on what you will do for them and put yourself in their shoes, right? If I'm in the desert and I'm thirsty and you come along and you offer me a bottle of water, I'd be so happy that you are there, right? So really think about, you might support a person that has never ever talked about that challenge, that might be stuck for a long time and they don't know where to go to, what to do. And even if you're new in the business, you believe in your gifts. You know what you can do. You feel it. So my invitation is just, don't approach the call with, I have to sell something. Just approach the call with, I'm going to share with that person what I'm up to in my business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to have the conversation. And if it's a fit, then I make an invitation so they can buy something. And if it's not a fit, hey, I learned a little bit about that person and I might be able to send them to someone else or to give them a great tip that will change a part of their life. So if you approach it from the service or the service based,
Mm-hmm.
that's so much easier than when you go, I have to sell. Like this person, I hope this person buys from me. I hope they say yes. Don't go for the hope, right? Just
Love
know
it.
you are amazing and then just do what you have to do to help others.
Absolutely. I love the fact that what you the way you described, like we're out there to help. And I'm just reaching out to see if this is something you would like.
Yeah.
And we're not trying any sleazy sales techniques or, you know, getting pushy and trying to manipulate people. None of that stuff. Just reach out. I have this to offer. Are you interested? Yes, no, or tell me more. You tell them more. Okay. And then once you tell them more, you ask them, does this interest you? Can I continue? And you just, with their permission, and then you just keep going. What are some of the top mistakes that people make around sales?
I think they center on themselves. They stay with their fear instead of coming from the place of service and just being with the other person. And they don't listen.
Hmm.
So anxious that they keep talking, right? They just don't. They don't get quiet. It's like la, 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 and I do this and this and this and this, and they don't listen. They don't give the other person the space. So don't worry what you're gonna answer next. Don't worry what is the next question of that person going to be. Just open the space. And if you don't have an answer, be okay with it. You can say, well, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that, but let me find out. Right? Don't stress yourself. It's just a conversation. So hold the space, be at ease with the situation, and just connect. And you will know how you can serve that person or if you can serve that person. And then you just take them along and show them how they can work with you.
Absolutely. Gang, for those of you who are watching or listening, if you have any questions or comments about what we talk about, feel free to comment on our podcast in a format of a review or ask a question, and we'll make sure to get back to you. And or if you're watching this live, make a comment as you're watching, and we'll make sure we answer your questions as we're going through. Now, tell me about your target audience. Who do you serve, and how do you serve them?
So I serve heart-centered, ambitious entrepreneurs who really love what they do, right? They are super excited about what they do, not their job, but the things they bring out into the world. They know it has impact for other people. And I really help them to step into that confidence, to sell with ease and grace, to be authentic in the process, and also to ask their price, right? Because so many, as I said earlier, they totally undersell and over deliver. So I work with people a lot on the mindset so they can let go of fear and they can step into their power zone where they are authentic, where they start to enjoy the conversations, and where they also can ask a price that reflects the value they are giving to the market.
That's another big problem. The setting the price, because a lot of people undersell and undervalue what they deliver.
Yeah.
And so how do you help these people?
So how do I help them? Well, I have a podcast where I inspire people.
Okay.
So that's like the easy peasy way.
What's the name of your podcast?
It's called Heart Sells. And then I do workshops. One is a Heart Sells Magic, where I take people through my power formula. So it's a 5-step formula where they can let already go of fear and get excited about sales and do the first steps into the right direction. And then I have a group coaching program and I work with people one-on-one. And for like a little bit more generic, I have a membership, a community where we get together, like it's a global community, and it's to empower people, to give them accountability, networking opportunities, and so on and so forth.
Love it. So I understand that you have a program or a course coming up here in the next few weeks. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's a Heart Sells Magic. So we create magic together in 5 days. And I will do basically a Zoom call each and every day where I give you guys content. So the power formula is P for the past, O for opportunities and outcome, W for your why, E for the emotions, and R for results. So I will lead you through that and give you tips and advice on how you can implement it in your life to make your sales so much easier and to enjoy it so much more.
Love it. And what are the dates for these program coming up?
Yeah, we start on the 25th, and then it's each and every single day. There's a segment that I will teach live. Teach live. And then afterwards, I will also answer questions so that people can move forward and don't get stuck.
Beautiful. So if you're watching and you or listening, and if you want to work on improving your sales skills and techniques and your mindset, and if you maybe want to reduce your fear of sales and tap into the wisdom of Christine and to the collective wisdom of the community that she's putting together to work on your sales skills, because it is perhaps the most essential business skill that any business owner must have. Check out the link. I put it in the comments of the show if you're watching live, and we put it in the show notes as well later, so you can check it out and sign up and ask her questions and tap into that knowledge. 80 guys, her knowledge and her expertise comes from a minimum of 80,000 cold calls. I don't know very many salespeople that actually walk the talk that she is. A lot of people claim to be many things, but they can't really back it up with their action. 80,000 cold calls is major. So it's not, coming from a guy that read a book and says, oh, I'm an awesome salesperson, I'm going to teach you how to do it. She actually has got the experience to back it up.
Yeah. And also one thing I think is kind of important, like surviving in a, high pressure sales environment, it was one job, right? I didn't jump companies or teams or anything. So I think that's another important factor. So to see how that quality kind of goes through or the end, all the way to the end.
Beautiful. Now, Christine, what are some of your favorite books that you have read, or books that you usually recommend to people? What are your top 2 or 3 books?
Yeah, love it. So the book that made a huge difference for me when I talked about being authentic earlier, right? Really stepping into who I was. A book that has helped major with that aspect is The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann. If you don't know the book, you need to know the book, right?
Yep.
It's the question is like, how can you survive without reading that book? So the book is amazing, and it made a huge difference in my sales conversations and then showing up the way I show up. And then the other book I just love. I love when things are kind of wrapped into nice stories. I know there are all these practical, great business books, but a book that really is going to touch your heart is The Greatest Salesman by Og Mandino. It's a small little book. When I ordered it from Amazon, I was actually disappointed when I unwrapped it. I was like, such a small book. Like, what can be in this book? But I tell you, you will start it and you will not be able to put it away. It's amazing. I give it to all my one-on-one clients. When they start with me, they all get this little present to start with. And everybody has loved it so far. So I'm sure you enjoy that a lot.
What's another book for you? Give me a third one.
There's so many books.
You talk about all the time, you think everybody should read? Maybe someone that made a massive impact for you?
Well, The Go-Giver is actually a whole series, so I read all of them. And they have there's one on leadership, and that was a book when I started to be my own boss, enjoying my freedom. I ordered the book, and I actually realized I started reading it at night. I just thought, I'm going to read a chapter, but then I read till I was finished, like till the last page. I could not put it down. And when I finished it, I had a look at the clock. It was like 3:30 in the morning. And I thought, yeah, now I know what really, like, the freedom piece, right? I don't need to get up in the morning to go somewhere to some job, right? I have my day how I want it, and I can read all night if I want to. So I think that's a book that's also really worth picking up. There's another one called,
what was the title again?
It's also The Go-Giver, Leader, something with leader. So it's 4 books. The red one you need to start with, that's The Go-Giver. Then the green one, which is also
about sales?
a great book. Yeah, exactly. It's The Go-Giver, Sell More. Don't start with the green one. Get the red one first, so you kind of know the story, you know the idea. Even though they go separately, it's great to have them in that sequence. And then there's the purple and the blue one. And I think the blue one might be the last one. Don't really remember. Sorry. I can look it up for you and and send you an email.
I have read The Go Giver probably 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
if not more. The red book is absolutely amazing. I've read the green book, and those are the 2 that I've read. But the Go Giver, the first one, is on my top 3 for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Go Giver
Amazing.
Influencer and Go Giver Leadership, I think. So yeah, they're all just wonderful.
Now, Christine, if you had a Facebook ad or an ad that everyone on the internet could see,
Ooh.
what would your message be?
What would my message be on that ad? Well, probably sales is love, and everybody would think like, what? They probably would
Who's
click.
this guy?
No way! Like, let's check out that crazy person.
Love it. Love it. Sales is love.
Yeah.
Explain what you mean by that.
Well, when you really tap into giving and serving the other person, you actually realize you care, right? You care, like you love them. And by sharing your love, sales becomes love, because you can only share your love, you can only share your gifts after they said yes to you. So what do you have to do? You have to sell something. So sales is actually love, because then they come into your world and you get that amazing opportunity to serve them, to help them shift, transform, have a better life, be happier, be more successful in business, whatever you do, right? They get that piece of you. You are sharing your energy, you are sharing your lifetime, you are sharing your love. So
Love it.
sales is love.
Yeah, you have to reach deep and serve people, and if you approach it from a position of serving and supporting, you've got to have the love to do that. And if you don't have it, you're gonna have a very hard time.
Yeah,
I
think
love
that's
your explanation there.
life, though.
What's that?
I think that's true for everything in life.
Absolutely.
If you don't love what you do, it's really wasting your time.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you would like to talk about that maybe we didn't go over that you would like to mention or talk about?
Well, I just would love to remind people that they have everything they need, right, within them. So when they are afraid, when they lose confidence, when they might have the thinking, well, who am I to do this? Am I worthy? I just want to let you know that you are. Each and every single one of us is unique. And that's not, that it's not in like an arrogant way or something. You are unique. Like, you grew up in one spot on this beautiful planet. You did go to school. You did whatever you did, but there is no other person who has exactly done the same. Even if you're twins, right? You have different experiences, and all these experiences add up to making you absolutely unique. So when you understand that this is not about, oh, this person is better or this person is less. No, we are all unique. And if you understand that you can give that gift, and however you express it, maybe you are, maybe you're a business coach, maybe you're a health coach, maybe you're a consultant, or you are a healer or creative, maybe you wrote a book, right? You are very, very special, and just realize that. So when you approach another person to offer your gifts, there is no one else out of the, I don't know how many billions we are right now, 9 billion or whatever. There is no one else like you. And I think that's pretty amazing. So do your job, right? Do what you're here for. Go out and serve. There's a saying like, hurt people. And I thought about that a very long time. When I heard it the first time, I was like, huh? Okay, that's a play on words. But when you think about it,
Hurt as in Hurt?
yes, hurting.
Hurt people, hurt people.
Hurt people.
I
Exactly.
like that.
When you think about that, like the person that snaps at someone, the person that, I don't know, hits someone, the person that whatever they do, when you look at them, they've been hurt and they just share what they have experienced. So I always say, and happy people make people happy. So now you choose in which world do you want to live? Because if you can share your gifts with the world, if you can have that impact, if you can help other people to have a better life, to hurt less or to stop the pain, the world is a better place. One person at a time. So what can you contribute? And that's totally, egotistical, because if the world around you is much better, you will definitely benefit. So think about that and really let it sink in about your uniqueness, your beauty, and what you can do with what you have so that everybody is better off.
Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. One question before we wrap up. And this is actually, we've talked about it, we touched on it, but how do you deal with an unfriendly prospect? Someone that is a total jerk and they just don't show you a good time. How do you deal with that?
Well, as we just covered, hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the person, I always approach it like this, especially when you cold call, you show up in people's lives. Like you didn't get an invitation, right? You kind of knocked on the door, so to speak, because you picked up the phone, but they might have just lost a client. Or maybe, their wife just told them, well, they had enough of that relationship. Or maybe their child flunked school or college, or they lost money. You don't know in what kind of situation you're getting yourself into. So just be prepared that this is just a moment. It probably has nothing, not probably, it has nothing to do with you. You are just in the moment where you get that anger, right? Or maybe they have been called a week before, they have invested in something and now they, kind of were ripped off. And now you're another person cold calling. So just understand it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your value, with your self-worth, with who you are. Just be friendly. Wish them all the good. I mean, if they haven't hung up, you wish them all the good and you release them. You hang up and you call the next person.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. For those of you who are watching, my guest here is Christine Schlonski, and she is a sales trainer, and she focuses on serving heart-centered entrepreneurs become better with their sales skills. Her program coming up is Heart Sales Magic, or is it Magic or Magics?
No, it's Magic. Yeah, it's a
all right, Heart Sales Magic. If you are interested in growing your sales or become better at sales and improving your sales skills, check it out. It's coming up on January 25th. It's a 5-day program, and the link is in the show notes or in the live show notes. Thank you, Christine. This has been an amazing conversation. I really appreciate you and your expertise. And I hope one day I will join your program myself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all your great questions. I really had a wonderful time, Mustafa.
Likewise. So for those of you who are watching or listening, one of the ways that we help our audience grow and scale and become more profitable and boost their confidence along the way is by creating a one-page marketing plan. It is the time of year where people set goals and they have big ambitions for 2021, but without a plan to get there, your chances of actually getting there are smaller. And so knowing exactly what you want and exactly how you're going to get there improves your chances of success by about 40 times. So join us and a group of committed, heart-centered entrepreneurs on the weekend of January 22nd. We're going to spend 3 days to get clarity about our plan, know exactly what we're going to do, and set the one-page marketing plan to grow and scale the business and reach our goals in 2021. I'm going to put the sign-up page and the link on the show notes and in the comments of the chat if you're watching or listening. It is persona.com/join-smf. The link is there, and we're looking forward to serving and supporting you. Thank you for joining us. A simple Daily Confidence for Entrepreneurs. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, and thank you, Christine, for joining us again, and we'll see you on our next episode.